Alright, so here's my Predator 459 cc mud skipper motor. I've got everything rigged up pretty much the way I want. I just ran this thing a couple minutes ago, but I've modded it a little bit. It's got a bigger jet, air intake, muffler. Then we've also bypassed the governor, which is, I'm sure, people's most asked question is, how do you do it? Well, this rod coming back to the carb, I think it's what gives it gas. So this goes, because this is your idler screw. You pull it out, you get lower RPMs at idle, and you push it forward to get higher RPMs, or screw it in. And this rod went up to this little arm here, and then on the back side of the gas tank it's got this other little arm right there. It's kind of hard to see, but that had a spring on it, and whenever you would get this thing up to 3,800 or 4,000 RPMs, that spring, or this spring, would pull this back, because the governor is back there and it's on a pivot. So basically there's two springs hooked up to it, this one here, and then there was one back there. I took it off of there and put it right here. So what I did was, I put this spring here that kept it from going back, being pulled back, because now it's off on the back side. So when you pull on the throttle, all it does is go that way now. That's it. That's the only way it can go. But how I did it was, it's pretty simple. I didn't have to go buy anything. This was stuff I already had laying around, because I had other projects. But basically what I did was, I took the spring off the back. I put it here. I bent it. You have to make it a little bit smaller, but I bent it and put it through one of the holes up here on that arm, and then I took it and put it up here and hooked it so that way it would pull back, because you got to have something to pull this back in order to keep it at idle, because that was what the back spring was doing. And now the back spring's on the front, pulling from the front now. And now I've got my cable clamps right here. That's actually for my throttle cable that comes up to here, and all I did was reuse one of these guys, these screw-in cable clamps that were here for the throttle cable, where you actually hook this throttle cable in at. I took it and I put a self-tapper and ran it through the ignition part, and when I did that, I had the throttle cable coming through, and then I had to stick this extra cable through it to keep it all clamped down with those two cable clamps. And I mean, it works flawlessly. I can get this thing up to about 5,000, 5,500 RPMs. That's why I'm waiting on the new valve springs to come in, because I don't want to blow this sucker up. But here, I'll show you how she runs. Put a tack on it myself, sitting there right around 1,600. It'll go down to about 15, 14, 40, somewhere in there. And then when I give her hell, she will go up to about 5,500. Anyways, that wasn't even full throttle. That was about 3/4, somewhere in between 3/4 and full throttle, and I was hitting 5,300 RPMs. So anyways, if y'all were wanting to know kind of how this thing works, that's how I got it to work. I'm just waiting on the valve springs so they can take the pressure. I think the ones that are in this are only 25 or 50 pounds. I can't remember, but the ones I got are, I believe, 100 pounds. So shouldn't have a problem pushing it now since we removed the governor. But anyways, that's kind of how I did everything on this. If you got any questions, feel free to ask.